Welcome back, Nuggets, to yet another devlog for my 3D bullet hell platformer called Wrenched. And this is a big one, so take off your shoes, put back your seat and get comfy. As you might have guessed by the title, we're remaking the boss that we made way back during devlog 12 and 13. And feels like I'm forgetting something. You know, that feeling when when you should have remembered something, like to do something, or I don't know.
But at least I have a boss. Let's not fully redesign new bosses until the game is finished, okay?
It's probably nothing. So let me take you back to a couple of weeks ago when I was designing a new boss for the second Sunken City level. The second level of the game is also in the Sunken City theme, and its working title is Falls, and it's called like that, plot twist, not because it has waterfalls or anything, but because it takes place high above on the rooftops of the highest building of the Sunken City. And so you could easily fall. Get it? Get it? And since the theme is also Sunken City, I really wanted to design a boss/enemy that could move through water. Basically a robot that could swim. And so I started designing bosses. An enemy that would get you when you fell down in the water, an enemy that would jump out of the water and grab you out of big heights, and an enemy that would... I don't know. It all just didn't seem to work. And the more I thought about it, the more it would make sense to, in the fall level, which takes place high in the air, to have a flying main enemy/boss. But the first level already had one of those, CRT. And that just didn't make sense. And as I said before, CRT really rubbed me the wrong way. So I started thinking, why not catch two bosses with one stone? That's how that saying goes, right? Replace CRT with a cool underwater swimmy boss and give Falls the flying boss it deserves. And so that's what I did. And so, against better judgment, I deleted CRT. This involved removing all the cutscenes and the level progress I made reliant on him being in the game, and this gave me a fresh new start to make a fresh new boss. And so, after 5 live streams and a few nights prototyping, testing, rigging, coding, animating, modeling, texturing, I'm really happy to show you all Squid. Now, I am much happier with Squid than I ever was with CRT, and I really feel he boosts the coolness of the first level. I might have even shot myself in the foot by, well, now having to make even cooler bosses than Squid. In any case, let's break it down. The biggest part of Squid are his tentacles. He is, after all, a octopus squid robot thing. And I really like the idea of the boss taunting, attacking the player throughout the level before fully revealing itself at the end. And the idea of a creature attacking the player from the depths of the water slamming down was something that really struck me. Now, if you ever make a new feature, it's always nice to think about how you could reuse that feature later. And so while making Squid, I continuously thought about how to make all the systems as separate as possible. Making many small features which are brought together to form one boss, instead of making one giant boss script in class which can only be used once. And so I started by making a hazard system. Basically an area which, if the player enters it, alerts the player, giving the player some reaction time, and then have something happen. And this something could be used for a lot of things, as it's just a Unity event being fired from the inspector. But of course, in the case of Squid, it would slam down a tentacle. After some much needed prototyping and checking if it would even be cool at all, it was time to see if I could actually make a robotic tentacle. Because, you know, I never made a tentacle before. Come on guys, come on. What are you talking about, guys? Go on. Following some tutorials and doing some diligent internet research, I finally figured it out and made a first prototype. Not looking like some body part at all. Luckily, my trusty Discord nuggets helped me out with some amazing input and feedback, and not long after I was left with this amazing, fully posable bad boy looking like a true Demogorgon from the depths. I then spent some time adding some cool VFX like a proper cherry on top. Oh! Next, I had to figure out what the actual boss fight would be. I had always intended for Squit to reveal itself at the end of the level, and I knew that I wanted Squit to be much simpler than CRT. Because I think that was one of his flaws. He was just way too complicated. And so I wanted Squit to only have two phases. One where he would emerge from the water, grab hold of the building, and start spamming and shooting bombs. And one phase where he would submerge again, be invulnerable, and start dealing some serious damage. His first phase would be where you could do damage to him, slashing his tentacles to make him release his grip from the building. For the bombs, I started out with him spewing exploding bombs, but I just couldn't get it to work and feel right. So eventually I settled on him shooting rockets from his head, which plummet down to the player. And again, just like the tentacles, these falling burst bombs are a separate system, and so I can reuse them anywhere, anytime. After you've destroyed his 4 tentacles, he would hide again in the depths and start dealing out some proper damage. So for his second phase, I always thought he would use his tentacle to swipe across the playing field, but seeing I now had an amazing slamming tentacle, I would be a fool not to reuse it. Not only does it give a nod back to the player's first encounters with Squid, it also made more sense in the end. And so after slamming down a random amount of times, he would reset to his first phase again, and things would continue on until he, or you, dies. And then it was time to work on the maestro himself, and I did something that I don't do that often. Make some actual concept art. I tried to figure out the color scheme and how Squid would look, and I think it was a good thing I did it like this for once, because I felt he didn't look quite squiddy enough, if that's even a word. And so after playing around in Blender, I settled on this elongated, more squid-like appearance. I then made a very simple rig, spent some time animating him, and it was finally time to throw it all together. I still believe in introducing a boss properly, so at the start of the level a player will now encounter a lonesome tentacle which also greets the player right before Squid reveals itself, hopefully tricking some players into thinking right up until the end that he was just tentacles. And you might have already noticed it, but while I was at it, I really felt that the old boss UI was feeling really outdated, and so I took some time to copy over the new, shiny, fresh UI I made for the player and copied it to the boss. Overall, I felt I did a much better job programming Squid than I had CRT. Before I started writing code for the boss, I also made a new abstract boss fight class handling most of the things each boss fight should have, like starting the fight, ending the fight, playing the boss music, resetting the boss, showing the health bar, those kinds of things. This way, instead of programming each of those features again and again for every boss, I can simply make a new boss inherit from the boss fight class and have access to all those handy features, making the code in the end for each boss way less messy and much, much clearer. And there you have it, Nuggets, a new boss. I hope you are as excited as me, so let me know in the comments down below if you also think that Squid is much better than CRT was. Now, will we ever see CRT back? I like to think so don't worry. And if you made it this far into the video and would like to get notified when I go live or upload another devlog, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button. What do you know? Just hit every damn button there is. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.